Hi guys, welcome back to Ebbs and Flows, where we talk about the highs and lows on and off the field. If you can do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and smash a comment down below. Today joined by a three-time premiership winner, former teammate, and in my opinion, one of the best hookers in the game, if not ever. The king of the art of deception, Api Koroisau. What's up, baby?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
It's been a while. It'll be good to catch up. First thing we like to do on this podcast is just check in on our guests. And how are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Off season now. It's been a tough year over at the Tigers, bro. So, it's good to get a little break now, and obviously first time getting the invite on the potty. So, happy about that too.
You were actually meant to be my first guest on this podcast this year. Remember, I was reaching out to you. I was like, I'll wait till the boys get a win, but that's sort of dragged out a bit, bro.
That's right.
But yeah, obviously finals time now. It's that probably time of the year that you're used to playing in with your past couple of years and picking up a few rings there. What's your thoughts on the current premiership right now? Who do you think could win it, and do you think anyone can stop Penrith getting a three-peat?
Yeah, I think like you said, the competition's like really good this year. Obviously, I think Brisbane have a really good chance against Penrith, but just the way they're playing, obviously they've got a lot of form behind them as well. The last few years, man, it's gonna be a tough one. I think anybody on their day can win it, but yeah, it's gonna be a good comp.
Do you, obviously you were in the sanctum there for a while. Will Ivan be talking about like three-peat, or would he be trying to sweep it under the rug? Is he sort of low key like that, or would he be leaning in towards it?
Yeah, look, over the last couple of years, it was actually mad. They were themed. The years were sort of themed, and it was all about climbing Mount Everest. When we first won it in 21, and then for 22 it was about being gone from great to great again. So we sort of rode that as far as we could. So I'm sure he would have done something along the same lines there with theming it and making sure it was something that everyone was aware of, rather than trying to just brush it under the rug.
I know those themes are quite big in rugby union culture, and I know the All Blacks have been really big on it. The Roosters have been big on it. Obviously, when we played, it was just sort of just rock up and do your best. Or you're still playing now, but how'd you find those sort of themes basing around the season?
Oh, they were mad, honestly. It's just something else to buy into outside of the actual footy aspect of it. So yeah, when the movie Maverick came out, I think it's Top Gun. The new Top Gun came out. That was implemented in and around the place, and video sessions about how we could use that sort of army style.
Cool.
Get off the plane, go do what you got to do, and then get back on the plane and just get out of there. So I loved it, man. You know what I mean? It just gave you another way to sort of wrap what you need to do into a different package, different visual, and then run with that on the field. So I think after one of the grand finals, we had little aeroplanes and sunglasses and cigars
Aviators.
Sorry?
With aviators on and everything?
Exactly, yes, that's the one.
Did you get him off Mighty Tapel?
Oh, Jesus. Shots fired, that wasn't me.
So you've obviously, bro, three-time premiership winner. Must feel good hearing that. Your first one?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. And I don't make this about me, but I went through an experience where I went from reserve grade to playing in a test match. You went from reserve grade to playing in the grand final, which in my opinion is 10 times harder than what I done. What was that experience like, bro?
Oh, bro, it's
And sorry, were you glad that you were young when that happened?
Yes. Now that when I think about it, the fact that I was young really helped, because I don't think there was any real pressure or understanding through my older experiences. So it was just I was young. I was 21. I'd played some of the year when Isaac was out. Played a few games with him, and then I ended up. I thought I was going back to reserve grade. Madge told me that I wasn't playing, and I was like, "Yeah, that's sweet. Isaac's back," and I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." And then he was like, but you're not going to play cup either." I was like, "Oh, what do you want me to do?" He's like, "No, you're just gonna chill just in case another injury happens." And I was like, "All right, sweet." That was 8 weeks out from the grand final.
Oh, so you didn't play 8 weeks leading into the grand final?
Nah, nothing. 8 weeks, bro. And I was like, "Oh, okay, sweet." He's like, "Yeah." So every Monday I'd come in by myself and just get flogged on the field at Redfern. Just 1 out, and I was like, "This is horrible." It was just... Anyway, I was happy to do it. I was really young at the time, and then when they thrown into the grand final, I was like, honestly, my whole world just went from this laid back guy enjoying watching the games, boys were going to win the grand final, I was a part of the team, and then all of a sudden I was in that game, and I was like, damn. So got the phone call, went straight to the park, because I'd been just bendering for
Oh,
8
had ya?
weeks. Right. It was like you said, at the time I was young. Like I was on a training trial deal that year as well, so I had no expectations of like playing first grade. I really wanted to, but I just didn't expect to be like in with the team. And then, so that last 8 weeks, I was just enjoying myself, man. Young guy, really just loose at the time. And I just remember getting the phone call and at the shops, I loaded the car and I jumped in the car straight to the park, bro. Malcolm's doing sprints around the field. I was just trying to burn everything off. And then, when I actually obviously playing the game, I just remember everyone telling me, just soak it in. Don't try and ignore the noise or like it's going to be loud. Just you have to actually soak it in, acknowledge everything that's happening. And then, I can barely remember like actually playing the game. It was that fast and I was that tired. But, I think the experience of like not playing too many games or being in too many big games sort of helped, because then I just went out there and played footy.
What was the biggest, like, what was the sort of, like, I remember Bully took a photo of you and he said, like, this guy's going to kill it. I forgot what he said. But what was the sort of the moment for you that you're like, fuck, I'm actually in the grand final? Was it in the game, before the game, or after?
Nah, but definitely before the game. So there's so many events that happen. There's promos you got to do. You got to head into the city. You got like fan days and everything. So the week itself is like quite packed, full of like commitments that you got to do as a team. So there's like people watching you train, and there's just so many people around Redfern. There was a event in the city. Got to go to the Star as well for lunch. So it was like that whole sort of lead up to the grand final. I was like, bro, like this is it. And I think as well the story of how Bully got suspended and then I'm going to jump in, as well made it sort of feel like I was in the grand final.
Yeah. Would have been helped having some guys around you though. Like I look at Reynolds is rolling into semi now. Luke Carey's picked up. I think he's on 3 rings at the same time.
Yep.
Obviously Burgess and Inglis.
Yep.
What type of leadership was coming from those guys at that time for you?
Oh, bro, it was massive. It was massive. Like there was blokes like GI. I think like he'd said to me personally, like, you got this, lad. Like we all trust you. But I think he said it in the paper as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I know the paper shouldn't mean as much as the personal interaction, but for me it was like, because it was public and it was like, yeah, like he'll do the job, blah blah. And I was like, man, like these guys, even if they don't trust me, they got to play me anyway, and they know I'll do the job. So it's like either way, I just got to go out there and play footy. And other guys like obviously Sam Burgess, really looked up to like John Sutton at the time. He was playing great footy, and there was a lot of other young guys in the team. So for me, it was all about just going out there and just trying to do my job, man. just don't fuck this up.
Bro, it's actually that thought of like the 8 weeks, not even playing, bendering. It gives me anxiety now.
Brother, I can tell you, my head was falling off.
Yeah, the ignorance of youth. So your path to NRL wasn't always like, you weren't like a superstar kid coming through, were you?
No.
How'd you make it to NRL?
Got spotted at a grand final, I think under 17s, and then got tipped off to someone at Souths, Mark Hughes, and then Mark Hughes said they'd already picked the Souths 20s team. The SG ball team, and he goes, if you like, go to North Sydney Bears. So just trial there. So I did the trial, made that, and then after that year in SG ball, he took me to South 20s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How'd you go in 20s? Were you like standing out, or was your game starting to develop?
Yeah. So I was a halfback my whole life until I went to South. Mark Hughes was like, look, we sort of see you as a hooker instead of a half, and I was like, yeah, hectic.
That's the worst feeling if you're a half.
And I was like, you know what? I would have played front row, like just to get into any sort of 20 system or anything like that. I was just that excited to speak to somebody like that was with an NRL team, I guess. Because I'd never made any rep teams growing up. I was always too small, or, all these things they were telling me. So, got to 20s. We did pretty average the first year, and then I played the second year of 20s, and I think we made the first semi and ended up losing. But, yeah, sort of just enjoyed taking what I knew from halfback or the dummies. Like I was always the show and go guy.
Yeah.
But from dummy half it was even better, because then I could like just show one way, try and send markers, and then still pass the ball, give our guys time on the outside. So I just went there 2020s, did training trial for first grade my first year. Just played cup 2013, and then training trial again 2014, and then ended up debut.
Just picking up a ring.
Yeah, just got thrown in there.
You sort of talked about it, and I was going to touch on it like a little bit later, but sort of while we're here, your deception, and I've been lucky enough to play with you, and I think you're so good at it that people don't even realize how good you are at it. And it's all like very subtle, different things. I watched this thing on Israel Adesanya about city kickboxing, and like all the like little head fakes, and all the kicks and stuff like. You've got that in your game, but from a fan from the outside looking down wouldn't really notice it, but on the field we notice it, and I know definitely if you're on the other team and your first marker and Api's fixed you up, you fucking noticed it. So, but honestly, I haven't seen anyone do it like you. You said it come from halfback, but do you want to sort of break it down a little bit more for us?
So I don't know, everything that I sort of learnt growing up with like being the small guy, you had to sort of pick up little things in your game to sort of try and come out on top, I guess. You don't have, I guess you got the quick footwork and like a bit of speed, but just trying to like beat players. And for me, like when I went to hooker, I wasn't going to burn anyone going sideways. Like I feel like I have some speed, but I'm not like super fast. So I just sort of try to build my game on like trying to get rid of the markers. And once I started just like half dummying from dummy half, and then people would go, I'd be like, oh, wait, I think I can do this. And then started figuring out defensive structures. They're like, when you're at marker, you got to go get the half back, or you got to work from the inside. I'm like, bro, if I can just half show this way, this guy's gone, and then this guy's stuck by himself, like. And then I started realizing people started to get behind the ruck. If I could send one guy, get out, hold one marker, and then punch this guy in behind the back, and then all of a sudden, like the nuances from the hip fakes or the shoulder fakes. So you don't actually throw the ball, pick it up. Oh, sorry, you do pick it up, but instead of throwing the ball, wasting time, you just shoulder roll.
Oh, okay,
to your left,
yeah.
Shoulder roll, and then they half go, and then you just straight away it's 1-on-1 with the marker, and then you can put someone in behind the ruck.
I feel like you're even throwing them off a little earlier than that. Like when you're running into a ruck and you're sort of like looking this way.
That's Is
that part of the plan, or are you actually looking that way?
100%. So on the way to the ruck, I'm telling like the other guy, I'm like 2-step or whatever behind the ruck. So I've already told him. So then like by the time I get there, I'm already looking to the left side, and he knows I'm coming.
Yeah.
Either way, so. Or like anytime someone calls the ball, if Nave calls, like last year was Nave Cleary calling the ball, or Luke Brooks, like they'd stand there and be like, yeah, this shape. I'm like, yeah, sweet. And I just look the other way the whole time.
Yeah.
Just like body position, everything looks like it's going right. As soon as that ball comes out, like just picking it up and then launching it. So
Baz had a big thing of like coming onto the ball square, and like you do that really well. Do you want to talk about what that, like to someone who doesn't understand the game, how important coming onto the ball square is from the 9 position?
As in, like, when you're going to pick it up?
Yeah, and you're going to pick it up.
Yeah.
Oh, you probably do it the other way, where your shoulders are facing everything this way, but you're kind of swinging back that way, aren't you?
Yeah, well, like, one of those things, too, is, like, I had to practice those. Like, my passing game was horrible when I first jumped into, like, number 9. Just a dummy half pass is, I feel like, completely different to a standing, like, 7 pass or, like, a running 7 pass. So, a lot of the time it was, like, coming into the ruck at the wrong angle and then, like, trying to pass the ball, but once I started to pick that up, I just trained it for so long that, I'm probably never square when I approach the ball at dummy half until I
breaking all the rules, bro.
Exactly. Trying to anyway.
Yeah. So it's for anyone who doesn't probably understand the game, probably the worst thing you can do as a defender is get fixed up at marker. And what that means is, say, like Api jumps out and he gets you and he tucks in behind, because it kind of just fucks up your whole set and you just roll from there. Where do you find the balance between hitting Nathan Cleary, doing your own stuff, and actually running? Like, I know a lot of hookers can get caught into a full-on passing game. Some can get caught running too much. I feel like you got that really nice balance in your game.
Yeah, a lot of what I understand about the game is momentum, or that's my main goal. Is like, I'm just trying to get momentum. I don't care how it comes, whether it's going to the halfback or putting someone in behind the ruck or taking the run myself. So it's easy to sort of see when I know that my role is momentum.
Yeah.
So when I see someone's not making it back to A, or I can see the markers aren't quite set, then I sort of understand what needs to be done. If everyone is set and it's a perfect defensive line, slow play the ball, it's either take another one in to try and get momentum, or give it to the half so then he can play something and get momentum. Yeah, if we already got like a half someone not all the way back or not making it back to the line, then I know that is the play. Like, doesn't matter what shape's on, doesn't matter, like that's the play right there. So yeah, I'm just always watching like usually A's and B's, and especially the third man back. If they're late, like we're coming.
We're coming, yeah.
Just straight in there.
So with the ruck ID, so obviously looking at markers for third man in, is the defense system still first marker to the open, second to the blind? Is that still how it works?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's worked for me, the clubs that I've been at, every club. So yeah, it gives yourself a bit more space at that second marker to go short side and not get burnt by the half. So.
Fixing up a second marker, you're in trouble, eh, bro?
Yeah, exactly. Trying to.
Obviously, went from Souths, got to meet you at Penrith. I think I've picked you up from the World Cup, didn't he? I remember him watching you.
Yes.
Play a game over there, and he said, "Oh, there's sort of something about him." What was it like going from sort of Souths and just coming straight? You probably signed at Penrith probably early.
Yep.
Halfway through that year at Souths. Yep. What was it like coming out to Penrith and sort of that transition into Manly as well? What do you remember from those years?
Bro, I think it was Souths had like a nice setup. Like at Redfern, it was all pretty new. Like everything was like nice. Gym was new, and then I came to Penrith. And it was still under the stadium, so it's still like the old, like the old school sheds, and there wasn't enough of space in the first locker.
Oh yeah,
and then so all the young guys had to sit on the outside, and I was like, "What is this?" I just came from a club where they were like, "Oh, everyone's together, one team. Doesn't matter if you played 100 games or whatever. Like made you feel included."
Yeah.
He was sitting next to blokes who had played like heaps of games and that, and then went to Penrith, and it was like these two separate like locker rooms, and it was like me, Wonga, Blake, George Jennings, just these young hooligans, man. It was like,
just piling your bags on top of each other.
Exactly right. There's no real lockers. It was just sitting on those benches, man. So it was definitely a difference in culture when I first got there. But yeah, I think as well, I was still so young at the time. I was really enjoying just being a part of a first grade team, playing rugby league and in the NRL. But yeah, I don't think for the two places at the time, it couldn't be more different. But yeah, you learn so much from those like experiences, and especially at an age where I'm at now, like just seeing how much of an effect like that sort of culture has on the players itself. So
yeah, 100%. So we sort of roll into like obviously Penrith played some really good games. Developed some form there, picked up a pretty big contract with Manly, and with Baz going over. I went over there as well, just to hold the pads for your boys and shit like that.
You did well, man.
Just a social
captain.
Yeah, social. Everyone come down the wharfie. Let's go. Yeah, what'd you learn over at Manly? That felt like, for me, that like exactly what you just said, from Souths to Penrith. I feel like from Penrith to Manly, because to me it was weird. I looked at Manly at like this big glamour club. They live on the northern beaches, and we got over there. Like all them boys were still getting their boots out of their cars, and we didn't even have lockers there. We just had a wrestling mat.
Mate, and we were showering at the back in the fire hose. Oh, the pre-season day, right? That fire hose on. All the boys bring their soap. Yeah, no, it was once again, it was just like a strange time. Like first got there, he had those office sort of like block offs, those that were
prefabs up the front,
around the mat, and we would just sit on the mat, or like that's where we were getting changed and ready. It was a weird time when I first got there. And then
do you know what that year felt like for me? It felt like you're in high school. Like, you know, like everyone had their own like crews and stuff. Like I remember at Penrith, because there was no one who was kind of a superstar, maybe like Matty Moore had just started to break out. There was no one that really stood out, so everyone kind of got along over there. But then you went to Manly, and there was like guys who'd run a couple competitions, and they were older. And then obviously all the chess drama was happening at the same time, and we were just rocking up thinking we'll be mates with everyone. It kind of wasn't really like that, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a strange time. Like, but like it was like the guys like Steve Maddai, Jamie Lyon, like huge superstars of the game. You know, it was crazy being around them. Like first of all, and then like you said, it was just everyone was getting changed in like just that middle bit. No one really hung out like outside of footy, except for like the new young guys who were probably partying a bit too hard. But yeah, like I think the footy as well was pretty average that year that we first got there, 16.
And it was kind of a weird one because there'd been some big signings, obviously, like yourself, Marty, Dylan Walker had come over as well. And then you had all those old heads that had been there before. Ches had just first year into his big deal. So it was just kind of a letdown for everyone, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And yeah, I felt sorry for Baz at the time too. Like, you know, he was obviously rookie coach trying to get his team off the ground, and yeah, there just wasn't much happening around the place. Yeah, I put my own hand up there too. I was probably just enjoying, you know, being a first grader a bit too much, like, trying to play some footy. But I enjoyed that time, man. Like, there's some great memories made on that trip with you, especially. It was good, bro.
You're making me sound like a bad influence, bro.
No.
I actually started YKTR from. Remember the back of my Manly car?
You did, bro.
Yeah, bro.
You did. I still have some of like the original kits that come out.
Straight on ass colour.
That's it. That's it.
So, bro, like, obviously, one of the biggest decisions you made, there's always this noise around you going to the Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
You end up going to Penrith. Bro, can you give us, like, the details behind that, bro? Like, let's get deep.
Yeah. So, I'll try and just recall everything that happened. First, Des let me go. Said it was like, I was free to look elsewhere if I wanted to and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, sweet. That's probably the first time it's ever happened. Even when I left Penrith, I signed a 2-year deal, but I only stayed the 1 year, and then Baz left, so I just went with Baz to Manly, and there was no like talk of we didn't want you or anything. It was just sort of out. So that was my first real like, look, it's up to you, but like you're free to go if you want like to look at other options. And I was like, you know what, that's all good, like no worries. So started getting the blowers and that. So it was cool. We did like the all. You know, who wanted to sign me and all that kind of stuff. Met up with a couple teams, and then I went and did a tour of Canterbury, because I think it was Canterbury, might have been NZ and someone else. So, but I did end up going to Canterbury just to like, walk around the facility and that. Was it Pay at the time? Dean Pay?
Yeah, Dean Pay, yeah.
Head coach at the time. So I didn't really want to move out of Sydney. Had my family there. And my parents were getting older, so I was like, you know what, I didn't really want to, you know, be too far away from them. And I don't know, that was it. It was I think Warriors, Bulldogs, and then somebody else. And I was like, you know what, just let me sit on this. It was only midway through the year. I just wanted to sort of take my time and come up with this decision. And I reckon I was locked in for Canterbury. They offered, I think they offered the most money as well, and they were in Sydney. I was like, this is perfect. I'm just going to go there. And then 3 weeks after sitting on that, got a call from Ivan just saying he wanted to catch up and whatnot. So I was like, you know what, this is perfect. I'll go see him at his house. And when I went and sat with him, bro, it was mad. No footy chat whatsoever. It was all like, how are you, how's the family, like
that old trick.
Yeah, exactly. Just went to relatable card and just left all the footy out.
Oh, this guy cares about me.
That's exactly what he did. No, but he was cool, man. Like, just how he was explaining what was happening at Penrith and what he needed and what the team sort of needed. And he obviously dealt with me the first time around at Penrith, so he knew how I was off the field, and I was just sort of enjoying life, as I've said 1,000 times. But he knew I had a young family now, and I, you know, just sort of settled down a lot. So he was like, you know what, like I want you to come back. He was like, oh, it's like sweet, like left there, and I told the manager straight away, I was like,
get me there.
Yeah, Penrith is it, and he's like, yeah, 100%. Like they've definitely got the most like promise to the way their club's going and the way the boys are playing. And the best thing about the whole situation was that nothing came out. I agreed. I think I'd signed and everything.
Yeah.
Not a single word had come out, not in the public or anything. And then obviously people were like putting up this like Canterbury stuff, and I was like laughing.
Perfect.
I was like, this is the best. This is so funny. Everyone's asking me too. It's like, oh, you coming to the Dogs? You signed the Dogs? And I was like, just waited and then announced it, man. And it was hectic.
I think you've probably been around long enough for good clubs and bad clubs. I think that's a sign of a good club when stuff like that doesn't get leaked, does it?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you think it was sort of just a given. The fact that, like, you know, whatever happens just sort of happens until it's done. But it doesn't happen like that everywhere. And I guess people have their own friends or their own people that they got to take care of who are in the media or whoever with other people, and then that just gets leaked. And that's the thing, like the power of information. Like if you have info, like that's valuable. You know what I mean? Like that can pretty much be traded
for anything, eh?
Anything.
Money, bro.
Right, anything, man.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just so powerful. So like when someone does have it, you know, you sort of understand why it does get out, because it just gives people so much to like sort of get back.
So you're a big part of unlocking like Penrith's success. What was what was the biggest lessons you learned over that sort of period of time? I seen you at the start of this year, the RIPA Awards, and you said it's weird. Like you ran out every game, and you just don't feel like you're going to lose. What was that experience like, bro?
Right. I learned so much from that place. Like, just the way everything gelled, like off the field as well. So it was about the footy, but they really knew like off the field success was just as important as on the field. Whether it's upstairs, coaching staff, everyone being on the same page. Like, when we did stuff like promos, the culture around the place was just incredible. It was like we had things with like wearing the wrong uniform and the punishments. Like it was all a laugh, but at the same time, it was like you just didn't want to do it because it was that bad. Like some of them was like shaving your head or like these hot chili things, but everyone sort of bought into that. And then like you just understand like if everyone's on the same page, it doesn't matter if the game plan's wrong or right. It's like if you're executing it to perfection, you're gonna be that hard to stop. And then again, like I think as well they had so many good young players, and I'd seen this at South. South was another one of the clubs that had really good older guys, like the superstars of the team. But you need your young and up and comers to really step up if you want to go and be successful. And that's what Penrith sort of had. They had all these young guys coming through, To'o, Crichton, Naif's still young, Edwards coming through, so Liam Martin too, came onto the scene. Like all these guys on peanuts and fresh out of like 20s and cup, and all of a sudden they all kick at the same time. And then that just carries that just turns like your floor and your ceiling are that far apart from each other now.
Yeah, for sure.
And same thing, same exact thing I seen at South. I already knew that because someone else pointed it out to me.
Oh, okay, got ya.
And then once I got to Penrith, it was like, it just happened again.
So when you say that, like that sort of reminds me of, because we used to say this all the time where like you said, you need a couple younger guys. So Broncos probably potentially could be the only major threat to Penrith, because you get guys like Reece Walsh apparently signed for 450, probably playing at like a 1.2, 1.3 level. Yes. And you guys sort of had that combination of a lot of them all at once, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly, man. And it just, I don't know, it just creates this level of like, I don't know, it's like around the place, right? No one has to carry anybody else, which just allows everyone just to play their role, which is a huge benefit to any team, right? If your superstars can just worry about doing their job and they're already that good, then their job just becomes that much easier, right? And then you got guys like Isaiah Yeo, who turned from like a bench back rower sort of lock, didn't know really where they wanted to put him, into one of the best locks in the competition. Skillful, can take over some of the things that like Kles used to do, you know what I mean? And it just like everyone just sort of started flying, honestly. A game plan sort of fit everyone.
It did. I was saying it to the boys earlier in the year, because like a lot of your forward packers, like you look at someone like, I'm just trying to think, like Jared, or you look at the Roosters boys, they got like Lindsay Collins, Jared, but they need to be coming off the back fence to generate momentum, where you guys could play like far right post, come back with a double drop with Nath, but he could play with like such slow tempo that if he dropped it off to Fish or Yowie, they could just generate their own speed and do have leg drive off the back of that, and then you just sort of generate momentum from then and just give it to your superstars.
100%. It was a crazy time, man. Like there was just threats all over the field. Everywhere you went, like if you wanted to hit the back rows, like you got kick out on Liam Martin on either edge. I was like, you'd be the worst to defend against. Honestly,
Who would you rather defend against, Kikau or Liam Martin?
Oh,
I know Kicks is your boys too.
Nah, I'm going Mato. I'd rather get bumped off than having to try and tackle someone who's going to bump me off, palm me. Like all of the above, like what Molly did to me in the last round when I played Manly a few weeks ago. Yeah, exactly what happened there. I think Kicks would do me. Like I'd rather cop Liam Martin's knees or elbows to my head.
Because he's just going to run a tough line. You just have to get you in front of him there.
Yeah, and if I sink in, they go at the back. That's fine.
Sweet. That's not my problem.
Just let the edges have it.
Where's the fullback? Are you coming?
Where is? Bro. It's just playing with Kicks too, man. He's just an athlete. So.
Yeah. So like talk about the premiership wins. Like how much more did that mean to you? Obviously, the first one you just sort of rocked up and
Right.
just rocked up as a replacement and got your ring.
Yes.
What about these ones?
That
Put in a whole season.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Always said, like, ever since like that game, I felt so guilty for playing that game.
You stole
Yeah.
Isaac Luke's ring, didn't you?
Correct. But it just burns me so deep. Like, he had to miss that game after what he did for that club too. Like, came there, like, worked so hard to get the club to where it was, and then missed the biggest game that club's had in however long it was. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Did you offer to give him your ring?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
oh,
He I think Michael Maguire ended up giving his ring to
were you stoked?
Isaac.
Were you stoked when you get to keep
Oh
it?
yeah, afterthought it was like this man. Like, still get to look at it. At home,
Yeah, yeah.
No, but honestly, like, I felt that bad. I just didn't think you'd get suspended for a grand final, to be honest. But yeah, it happened, and then obviously the penalty ones. Like, that's when I felt like I was actually a part of the team. You know, grinded it out the whole year, and we lost 2022. So, you know, that sort of made 21 that much more special. And then, you know, to start I think try to start a dynasty, and then made it 2022 as well, back to back. I mean, it was crazy. Just to lose so little games as well. Yeah, it just
You
doesn't
got
make
like
sense.
a 90% win rate or some shit like that. Something
Yeah,
crazy.
I think it was
bro.
maybe I lost 7 games over 3 years. And then everyone was mocking me when I got to Tigers, saying I lost like the first 7 rounds of the.
Oh yeah, true. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which one stands out more to you out of those sort of rings? Like the last 2 that you got?
21 against South.
Mm.
Yeah, that one. I'm pretty sure. Is that the year 21?
Yeah,
That's,
what, 23. Yeah, 21,
Yeah,
22.
it's gotta be 21. Yeah, bro, that one was a grind day. That one, I reckon, the last 20 minutes, I've never been that tired.
Yep.
That one, yeah, that was like lost 2020. We get back there 2021. The comps moved out to Queensland. Like, everyone just wants it so bad, you know what I mean? And I think for South as well, they had a great team. You know, they did well to get there. We lost the first semi to
game,
them.
yeah.
So then we came back that second time, and 20 minutes out of my feet. I remember screaming at Isaiah, yo, he's cramping up, like, not in the huddle. I'm like, go me! Like, everyone's just dying. And then when that buzzer went, man, bro,
Oh, just relief.
so much satisfaction.
Mm.
But that only lasted for like for a little bit, and then back in the preseason. No, it was good, man.
Yeah.
It was good.
Wow, it was crazy. It was just kind of cool to see it from like an outsider who kind of been in, like, big fan of Ivan. Obviously debuted me, brought me back from England. But like just always hear about what they'd planned on doing. Like the first time we were there, the Centre of Excellence. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, where is this thing? You said it's gonna be ready in 6 months. Let's see you guys go and do it, bro. It was fucking mad to watch.
Yeah. No, it was nice to be a part of, bro. That's an experience for sure.
The Tigers. What made you get there? What made you go to the West?
Same thing. I think it was to go up to Dolphins, maybe, and Tigers. Yeah. Yeah.
Dolphs would have been nice.
Dolphs would have. They really would have. But once again, it was like I had young kids in school, and my parents, they're just, you know, they're just getting older. Like, I love the sort of family aspect. Like, if I could get my kids around my parents more, I would. I just love us all being together, and like, I already live 45 minutes to an hour away from them, which already seems like, you know, a long time. So everyone was set up.
Yeah.
This is business here in Sydney. I just didn't want to go away. And to be honest, I grew up supporting the Tigers, and Sheensy and Benji were going back there. So I was like,
The
you know what?
dream.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we're going again. So yeah.
Did you have chats with Penrith and they're saying you might have been worth a little bit too much at that time, wouldn't you? Is that
Yeah.
what it was?
That's exactly what it was. They said I was free to look or test the market. And then they were like, just give us right a reply. And we're like, yeah, of course. But then when we did it, he was like, man, we just can't pay a hooker anything close to that. So they didn't even offer anything, which is like completely understandable. You know, they had so much salary cap. And this is what I was saying, like, the good thing about having the young kids come through is that you get the best of the best, like, at such a young age for like little money. But then at some stage,
Yeah, they catch up.
they
eh,
catch
bro?
up, yeah. And like, we've lost, or not we, but Penrith lost some big players over those years. You know, Matt Byrne, Cape Wall ended up leaving. Keys is gone, myself. So it's like, yeah, it's just one of those things that come with rugby league and trying to manage the salary cap, really.
I know, well, this is sort of swinging back to Manly, but you spend a lot of time with Manasi and sort of developing his game, bro.
Yeah.
And he turned into like, bro, gun. Like,
Bro, every time someone speaks about him, when Des asked me to, when said it was alright to look elsewhere, bro, I was like, yeah, this guy, honestly, from where he is now, 10 times the player I was at that same time. Was he 20 years old, 21 years old when he
but
came?
you're teaching him the little shoulder rolls and shit.
Bro.
You might have taught him too good, bro.
Bro, he was, yeah, man, he was like the best thing I've seen come through like into first grade as a hooker. Like, if his fitness like levels were a bit like higher, I wouldn't even have been playing, to be honest. Bro, he was coming.
Those unfit Tongans, man.
Yes, 100%. You look out for those things.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a cheeky question, but when you leave Penrith, do you sort of hope, like, you watch Matty Burden and that go and Capes and, like, you guys, Penrith just reload and go again. I thought once you left and Keeks left, I'm like, oh, shit, they're going to go down. Is it good to see them go well, or low-key is there part of you that goes, fuck, I wish I was struggling here?
No, bro, honestly, like, you make, like, such good friendships and, like, you know, they're pretty much your brothers after what you go through, you know what I mean? And I love seeing their success. But the one thing I will point out is Mitch Kenny. Bro, I love seeing him play well. Because even, like, when we were together, he was just the best, like, learner. We just wanted to learn everything, like...
And he's a different style hooker too, isn't he? He's
He
more like a sort of read money, like in your face, go hard, zip it out.
Bro,
Yeah.
exactly. So he would always ask me things and tips, and he was good too. He understood that he wasn't the same like type of player that I was, and didn't try and like, you know, just like force it into his game. He took what he could, like whatever worked for him, he kept, and then. But I just remember the start of the year, people were like, it was just a talk about like losing him, bro. Just to see him like go so well, bro. He's the man too, like best.
Yeah,
bloke,
good dude. Yeah,
bro. Massive clown, so he's good to be around. He's got that energy about him. Yeah, I love seeing him go so well too.
All right, we'll talk about your time at the Tigers now, and obviously they say like a week's a long time in rugby league.
Yeah.
I'm sure this season has been long, and like you said, you sort of came from Souths and come to Penrith, and we're kind of a team on the up at the time. You've gone from 3 years of grand finals down to the West Tigers, or across to the West Tigers. What was that experience like? First day walking into the joint.
Yeah, but I was really excited actually. Like I said, Penrith couldn't keep me, so it was easy to understand that I wasn't going to be there. So it's like, it's not like I had trouble leaving or anything. I was ready for the new chapter. Like, I really actually want to just bring this club up. Like, I love the Tigers. I'm not a big footy watcher. Never was growing up, but I just...
You're not, eh?
No. I think I've watched one game this year. But it was like...
Is that crazy? Is that crazy? One of the best nines and only watches one game?
I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, like... I remember being at my cousin's house and they were like, oh, the game's on. They're all Para fans and they were playing the Dogs and everyone ran to the lounge room and I was like... When I asked my cousin, like, can you turn the Nintendo 64 for me on?
That's the vibe, eh? Yeah.
Just went and played it in the room by myself, and I was like, yeah. No, but yeah, I just like, I love the Tigers, and it's not even just that I love the Tigers, it's wherever I go, like, doesn't matter what jersey I have on or who I sign for, like, I'm all in. There's no like half or anything. It's just, I'm going balls out, and there's nothing else to do, you know. So when I got to Tigers pre-season, the vibe around the place is great. Like, we were losing as well, but like sometimes when you get those losing teams, you really start to fracture as a playing group, and the boys can start to split. But it wasn't like that here at Tigers. Like, we understood it was like only us. You know, we also understood that the footy that we were trying to play just didn't work for us as a team at the start of the year. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, getting there pre-season, I was enjoying the place, new facilities too. So it was a great place to be at.
Yeah. So like I look at that team now, and it's like sort of very similar to that vibe we had at Penrith early on, where you just kind of don't know where your like superstar is, and obviously you're gonna do your thing at 9. And there was a lot of Fox reports there saying like people can't keep up with Api, and early on, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Brooksy, bro, he's a player. Like, he can ball, bro. Maybe just in the wrong system. Like, when you walked into there, were you just like shit? Like, were you trying to flip attack? Obviously, you're solid on D. Penrith's a defense club. Like, what were you looking at? What needed changing?
Yeah, I think a lot of things for my game as well was combinations, just for my game. Like, if I do take off, someone's usually there. They know I'm going, so they just push up with me. Isaiah was a good example of that. You know, if I took off, he'd always be there. Even Nath was good if he was waiting for the ball.
Yeah,
And I just went,
Yeah.
you just go hit a hole. So it's one of those like things you actually have to work on in pre-season. I came really late. I think it was World Cup into Tigers, so I didn't come back to like the second week of January or something. So I didn't get too much time to sort of work on that part of the game. But yeah, as well, like you said, we didn't really have that guy, the go-to guy, at Tigers, and I think a lot of our game plan at the start of the year was sort of free-flowing footy. You know, like have shape, attack. If you end up on the sideline, like swing the ball back to the other side. But we just weren't gaining any momentum. We just didn't know who we were as a team. We had no identity, so it just wasn't working out for us. We had a couple of close games at the start of the year that really would have helped us in our season. I think it was Newcastle and Titans, and you know we dropped them, and they were pretty bad games for us. So we just started on a downhill trajectory from the start.
As a captain, like, what do you say in those sort of moments when you're like 0-5 to start the season? Is it, do you start? I was going to get angry, man. Do you start turning, or is it like you're a little bit older, you're trying to bring the young guys with you, not break confidence?
That was exactly like the dilemma I was sort of in that mid part, because I came so late too. I hadn't really built that relationship with everyone, and then a couple of weeks into pre-season or a few weeks, whatever it was, like then they said we all voted for captain, and I got the nod, and I was like, I didn't know exactly how I wanted to come across, but I had some good advice from someone. They said, you got picked as captain by being yourself, so don't change who you are to try and be the captain. So I was like, you know what, that's great advice. And I battled with, how do I then bring a point across? Because I'd love to just get angry, but at the same time, our team's so young and inexperienced. If I do get angry, I'm going to lose a few blokes here, like, without a doubt. And then if I try and be, like, just constructive, is like, am I getting my point across? So it was like that mix in between. But honestly, it was like, it's hard because when you watch, maybe from an outside perspective, you could easily say, like, oh, they're just not putting in the effort. You know, they're playing horribly. It's just,
I don't think effort was ever the thing though with you boys, eh?
nah,
Yeah.
it was never it. You know, we just didn't have the footy down right. The footy is such a big part of it, and mentality behind how you want to play, and we never had that from the start of the season, and it sort of, it just didn't put us in a good place, and building on the season didn't work either.
What did you learn as a leader from round 1 to round 27? Like, what had changed? Or are you still trying to figure it out?
A lot of what I learned was, a lot of it was like, if I want something done, like I just have to pull the trigger on it. Like whether it's game plan, whether it's how I want to play, or like a lot of the times coaching staff will come up with game plans.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you're not going to beat Penrith by game plan. You're going to beat them by literally doing what they do and just trying to do it better than them. You know what I mean? Or if you have an attacking side, because we didn't have a very fluid attacking style, so it was like, we're not going to beat them trying to go around them or try and pull them apart with plays.
It is very lateral, eh? It's very lateral side, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, we just couldn't do that, man. So I think when we did end up playing, it was wet, so it was perfect. And all we did was just kick long, just into the corners, just try and beat Penrith at their own game, and it worked out. If you have an attacking team, I think you're actually better off like trying to attack more of the time. You know what I mean? Because they're so good defensively. If you can just pull them apart once, Souths do it really well against them.
They do, eh? Yeah.
Because they just play digging and they go around, but they have a really good attacking side. So for us as a team, we just needed to find that. We had really good middles, especially fit middles. And I think when we actually started to put some good games together, we were doing that, like putting it on our middles. Our back five were actually good coming out of yardage. We just needed to sort of kick to the corners, like play that long game. And then I think if we started that from the start of the year, then you can build on that, build the game, the passing, the shape and all that. So I think, we just started a bit late on that kind of stuff.
Tim Sheens and Benji, obviously Tigers royalty. Obviously that time 05 to 11 was one of the best times of football to watch, and you probably didn't watch any games, but Benji was the man. But like, how much of that past after they tried to bring in, and like, what's the different coaching styles between, so like Tim Sheens and Benji, even though they're head coach and assistant, and Benji's head coach now? What was the like clear differences? Because Benji's been through that phase and been through systems with like Souths and sort of stuff like that.
Yes.
What did you learn from those boys?
Well, heaps. Like Sheensy's footy mind is crazy. Like just what he understands about the game and what he knows about the game. Like he's obviously been in there for years. So, but if you get trapped into a corner with him, he will let you know about it. All 50 years of his experience is going to come out. He's stuck his hour and a half conversation with him, but I think what worked for him was a lot of he wanted to play that sort of like footy where we were passing the ball and had lots of shape, but we just didn't really have a Benji to sort of execute that for us. Because Benji, like as a player, even when he trains with us, incredible man. Like he's so loud, like screaming, like do this, do that, naming people as well. Like that's something that's like pretty advanced. Like at the top level is like when you name who's on your inside to do a certain job. He'll be like Twali, and then he'll be like Clem, like you know what I mean? Like I can't even think of people's names when I'm running past them. Like, like everything's just happening so fast, and but Sheensy, obviously been in the game for so long, but he was all about his trick plays too. So he has some pretty cool trick plays. Like me getting out, Brooksy under the other side to Wakeham, and the back inside for Jareem. So. All those sort of plays we try to get from him too. But Benji's the opposite, man. I think really strategical. Obviously been in the game, much more recently and played under different coaches as well, like Wayne Bennett, obviously. So he's more so about the structure and understanding the feel of the game, like momentum. These days, bro, you literally for the first 20 minutes you just got to kick to the corner. You know what I mean? First few games of the year, you just got to kick to the corner, like. Because you don't have that smooth combination between each other, things are just off. But it's not anyone's fault. It's literally first few games of the year.
Yeah, it's just clunky, eh? Exactly. But it's hot.
It's hot, bro. Yeah. Everyone's trying to, get their fitness in, their match fitness. It's literally, bro, kick to the corners and then sort of play that kind of footy and then wait for the other team to make a mistake, pretty much. It's
just dive one of those.
Exactly. So, and then you build on that throughout the season. But, Benji's a lot about that. So it's good, man. He just sees the game so differently, and I think because he played it so differently as well, it's a big asset.
He talked about that on my podcast where he said that like a lot of people thought he was off the cuff, but he's actually really structured. And Cody Walker, I've heard a lot of boys say that about Cody, where like Cody's pass selection's fucking elite. It's crazy.
I don't know how he just holds the ball for
so long, eh? He's like low and just go bang.
He just picks his pass perfect every
the
time.
foreman go, hurry up and get up, go get him. But like he said that like within the structure there's enough like sort of plays that can come about that, isn't it?
Exactly, bro. And that's the whole point of the structure is like it gives you something to do when there's nothing on. So that when there is something on, you don't have to think about it. It's like when there's no structure, you have to try and come up with plays and think about everything. You're like, all right, let's do this. All right, let's do that. Whereas when the structure is like we're getting here to there, and as soon as there's a quick one, we were talking about momentum before. If I'm seeing like a half, late third man back, or straight away you understand there's only 5 there, and then you just like, pull the trigger instead of trying to think of everything on the spot. It just calms everything down, and then you get the blokes.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, well, like that's sort of the thing. People think structure is boring, but it's like it might be boring, but it allows you to free up your game because everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone knows the structure. And then when you want to pull the trigger or the superstars need to go, gone.
They just see it a bit.
They just see it.
Yeah, they see it. Yeah. And like that setup play that Penrith always do when they start like in that grey area post and they lay it up to that other one. That's the perfect setup play because what people don't realise is you're actually trying to tie up your half and your back rower. And once you've got them both at marker, there's got to be 2 ruckies going on the up to the wide 4. And 100%. Then Jerome just goes, fuck. Give me the ball, Kikau, whoever.
100%. And then if there's 3 in that tackle, so you got 2 middles, one's going late back to the open. It's like there's just options everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you have
structure's boring, but defending your line's even more boring.
Exactly. Don't do that.
You talked about young fella coming through your club, Buller, at the back. Tell us about him, bro. He's gonna be a star, isn't he?
He's special, man.
Did you know it straight away when you seen him, or? You don't want to do those ones, like, I've seen it from a mile away. But
honestly, there was just so much going on at Tigers. Like I was just focusing so hard on what we're trying to do as a team, and try and get to different spots and combinations and whatnot. Like he was training, but he wasn't like trying to pick us apart at training. You know what I mean?
Oh, so he was in like 3rd gear or something.
Yeah. He he was like he was fullback on the other team. Kick to him, and he'd just sort of
catch.
catch, bring it back, like get tackled. Whenever we do our post stuff, like, oh, bro, as soon as you put him in the game against other people, he's a freak. I was a bit weary of him coming in. I just thought
it was short of a run.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were losing a lot, and I was like, throw this guy in the deep end, and I was like, I don't know if this is the best thing for him, but you know what, like, it's rugby league, sink or swim, pretty much. That's what they were explaining to me. I was like, you know what, fair enough, bro, killed it. First game against Manly.
Freak.
Yeah. And just an athlete, man, proper athlete.
Probably a guy gets hated on a lot, and he's kind of like an easy scapegoat and a beat up target, Lukey Brooks. I think, like, I've obviously played the game. He's a gun to me. He's been in a bad team for a long time, and he's the 7. He's the highest paid.
Yeah.
The blame should be on his shoulders. I get that. But what's he like behind the scenes, obviously, from a work ethic, from a person, and from being on the field with him? What's he like, bro?
Right, he's great. Like, he's a bit quieter. He's one of those quieter blokes, but, like, greatest guy. Like, we'll converse with you. It's not like he's like trying to leave or anything like that, bro. Great bloke. Gets onto the field, does his job, and it's one of those things. It's like so much perception around how you should be playing if you're getting paid that much money. I felt you feel horrible for him. Like, you see over the years, just getting bashed and
just wear you down, over that time.
I don't know how he's.
I get sick of hearing it.
I don't know how he's still playing.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, it's just week after week copping that kind of abuse, and then to play with him, bro, he has so much potential, and I think, like you said, like, system versus what sort of works for him, and I get it, like, you got to sort of try and adjust or do what you can as a player, but I thought he played some great footy this year, like some absolutely cracking footy.
What do you think? What's his strength?
His running game easily.
Well, if you were to sort of coach him from, like, a high level, like, how would you, like, certain players operate off certain looks. Like, I like playing off a 50 because I'll just get a wide pass, I'll slow, I'll just get to B.
Yeah.
How would you play him?
But I'd honestly, like, I'd play him from the grey, from outside the post.
On the long or the short?
On the long.
Okay.
On the long.
Out the back.
Yeah, out the back. And get him onto the 4-man a bit more. And just because he's like, he can actually burn the 4-man.
He's rapid.
He's so quick. He can actually burn the 4-man, or dig in, like, hit that short bar. I just think I think he actually has so much to give. You know what I mean? And I think the changing club will be good for him because, like you said, it just wears you down so long. Copping that same club, so yeah, I actually have high hopes for him over at Manly.
Fuck, he's going to kill it, in my opinion. Obviously, you played at Manly.
Yeah.
He's just going to plug straight into that system, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because Ches does everything.
100%. Ches will, take the team where they need to go. I'm pretty sure that's how they play. And then this guy will just either set them back on that left side, or they'll even let him roam to the right side if they need to. But left foot kicking game too.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Two kickers, like, hard to defend, man.
40-20 central.
Latest. Both of them.
And probably since Teddy's gone, he hasn't had a guy like Tommy to play with. Imagine he's got Tommy out the back now too, so that takes pressure off you.
100%.
Jakey's passing you the ball, so, like, you're getting it straight on your chest and you're already on the 4-man.
Yep.
It's been pretty exciting for him.
Yeah, I think he's going to do great there. There's some good middles to work with.
Talk about, obviously, Fiji got up in the Rugby World Cup.
Yes,
and
sir.
Yeah. Talk about being Fijian and playing for Fiji, and especially in rugby league, and they're starting to do great things. And one memory that sticks out for me, and I know Tonga get a lot of credit for 2017 World Cup. Bro, Hainsey in 08, just taking on everyone with no one around them. It's crazy. Like, Fijians, just natural footballers. Now they're starting to plug into professional systems.
Yes.
Fiji and Drua just beat Crusaders. Now they've just beat the Wallabies over there. But you must be super proud.
Mate, it's incredible. Like,
I just seen you get up in your seat there too.
Fiji one, yeah.
Oh, Fiji.
Yeah, bro. Like you said, everyone sort of speaks about it, like, obviously because they're really undeveloped as teams and even as countries, right? So they sort of are always known as being great athletes and can play football, but never as their own team. Like, if too many Fijians together, a bit too many carver sessions, or the jokes that you got to make. But just to see, like, the development of all these players now, right? Like, everyone's sort of in a system now all these players, they're all playing somewhere. They're all professional or semi-professional. So, bro, it's just, obviously that union game on the weekend versus the Wallabies, like, bro, this is the first time I've seen them play so tactically sound. It was crazy. And their forward pack was hectic.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big union fan, or I don't watch too much footy, but, usually it's our forwards that sort of struggle against other teams. But I think every one of those forwards plays for a team. They're all, perfect in what they do in their positions. And watching the scrums, like, we weren't getting pushed back where we usually get pushed back, or the penalties that come from falling down. So, I just thought everyone stood up. And then the number 9, oh, bro, he's my man. He's my man. His goal kicking, it was like a 65-metre goal. He kicked it. I was like,
yeah.
bro, it was outstanding, man. Just to see them all come together at once and play like they did. And obviously you got Semir Arundra and
He's the guy,
Tuisova.
Tuisova, bro. He'd be so scary to tackle.
Oh, man. I'm watching these guys get bumped off so hard just from him.
So we flip to the league side. What's it like playing for Fiji? Obviously, like, you see a lot of Pacific Island countries, and they come in and we all haka. We go anthem haka. You guys go into church hymns.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like, bro?
Right,
some catchy songs too.
We'd always,
always singing them on the drink.
No, it's special, man. Like, even the blokes who aren't singers, everyone just gets a rush out of singing together as a group. It's strange to put it that way, but when you come into a group environment, everyone's a bit like hesitant. The first time singing or whatever it is, but like, that's the way everyone sort of buys in by singing, because it's like, you cannot sing, but everyone knows if you're not singing. So everyone sort of sings, and you're in a circle staring at each other, and like, it's mad because you're out of your comfort zone. You're actually being vulnerable because if you have a bad voice, it's like, you usually hear it. So it's mad. And
one band, one sound.
But like, you actually learn how to sing too, which is mad. Like, you're picking up these little skills, and everyone's trying to learn the words and what the words mean. So, to step out into a footy field, once again, you put yourself in this vulnerable position, and then everyone's just doing this circle. There's no one else there. It's you and your mates, and then everyone just loves representing Fiji and being from there. Like, I've never heard anyone be shy to say they're from Fiji. It's just
no way.
It's just, everyone just loves it. And it's a great place to come from.
Yeah, for sure.
It has such a great aura about it. People talk about how they love Fiji and it's good for their kids and a beautiful place and whatnot. So
always beautiful people, bro. Very polite. Yeah, very kind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no, it's
I
awesome,
can play. Is it weird going from like a hymn into like footy? Like, obviously going into, you know what I mean? Or is it more of a buzz?
Right. The adrenaline that you get once you finish singing, it's crazy. It's weird. It's more like a fulfilling sort of feeling rather than like a we're coming to sort of kill you vibe. But it still has the same effect. Like, we all know we're playing for our country and how much it means to us. So yeah, everyone's just there ready to go, and some of the boys usually cry.
Wow, bro, a lot of them do. Eh?
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty moving, bro.
Yeah.
And
I think it just sort of hits a different chord, pretty much.
The Flying Fijians, they moved into a haka a little bit different than what you guys do, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. So they still do the haka. We're the ones that sort of changed it a few years ago into the hymn. But yeah, once again, just mad watching it. How much emotion comes out, and I think for everyone that does sort of a haka or a war cry, just the amount of energy it takes from you, but also you get back, after doing something like that.
Yeah, bro, haka's draining, man. You try and do that, bro. We'll go first.
Yeah,
so you can get your breath back, bro.
Fish was telling me that. He was saying like, after the haka, bro, like, you're actually tired. Like, you feel so tired, like you're puffing, like you just scream so hard, and then now you're just getting to go.
And Fish has to go back and take the first head up too, which is even worse.
That's crazy.
Try and get the kick off, eh? Try and get the kick off and haka first, and you'll be away.
That's your one run done, and then you go kick chase. So.
Fuck, that's great. New South Wales, bro. Obviously, been in the Origin arena, bro. That's pretty exciting. As a kid that never watched football.
The only things I did watch.
Oh, you watch Origin?
Pizza night, Wednesday nights. Bro.
Yeah. What was that experience like, bro?
Bro, it's insane. Like, I don't know. I always like saw myself as a little kid from Regent's Park, which is, you know, out west, and never really saw myself as like a elite player growing up. I just wanted to make NRL, and then always just used that. And I was like, you know, I made first grade at South, and I was like, yeah, it's just a little kid from Regis Park, you know, from Fiji. And that was it. Like, I always just sort of talked myself down. And then once I ran out into that Origin arena, I was like, all right, I just stopped talking myself down. Like,
Oh, so you had to wait till you played Origin to sort of validate yourself.
till it finally hit me.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it finally hit me, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I can't do this. Like, I made it. There's nothing else to sort of, you know, bring myself back down to anything. It's like, why not be someone's influence? Why not help someone else come out of that instead of them thinking that they can't do something? Why not be, you know, why not be the guy? Why not be the guy that made it out instead of, you know, just that kid? So.
And you know what's different, sort of to tie our past conversations together, is like when you associate Fijians, like winger, like Hainsey, like Rodraja, or Petro Sevenasiva, like the forwards are always sorted, the backs are always sorted, but the guy who gets them the ball, there's sort of no Fijian. Well, it's obviously you now, but who, like, you're the guy who can get those guys the ball. You know what I mean?
100%, man. Like, that was another thing growing up. Like, I'd never seen a Fijian spine player that was like solidified in the NRL. I actually loved Aaron Groom. He was the Bulldogs halfback.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yes, yeah, Groomy. So I don't think I don't know how many games he played, but he was sort of in and out. But yeah, I sort of looked up to him a lot growing up because he was a spine player, bro. Yeah. And then I don't think there's been too many that have sort of stuck in there.
What about when you looked at other code, like someone like a Waisali Sarevi or someone like that?
Ooh, that was my dog. I used to watch his highlights on YouTube, black and white.
Yeah, roll the sleeves up straight into a goosey, eh?
Right. And even watching him in the crowd, like watching these
cool,
Fiji
bro.
games, bro. So, no, it's all... There were so many good players, and you know, Fijians have always been known for like, playing good footy and whatnot. So, yeah, once I finally got there, you know, I was happy to sort of call myself a Fijian spine player. So
Yeah.
it was mad. It was
That's
hectic.
cool. Queensland, man.
Oh,
The
They-
boys are good, eh? Like, obviously, you hear Queensland spirit, it means more to Queenslanders. But my opinion, and I know a lot of New South Wales people, I do think it means a little bit more to those guys. What's your thoughts on all that? I know that hurts you.
You're burning me. Yeah. No, bro. I don't know. Yeah,
Because you guys are always more stacked than him. Like that's what confusing me over the past couple of years.
Man, I'm just when they say that, because like when I play, like there is no I couldn't go any harder, like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so when people say that, I'm like, well, that's just personally.
Yeah, basically they're questioning your effort or passion, aren't
Exactly.
they? Yeah,
exactly.
okay,
So it's like I'm just out there. Like I get it. Like people will say what they want to say and have their opinions, and that's fine. Like I'm not bothered by that. But I'm like, bro, I don't know, like how you would think that it doesn't mean as much to us as it does to them. But like, you know, maybe it's just something else that they're doing at the moment. The game's the way they're playing. But yeah, man, when I hear that stuff, like, all right.
Whenever I bring it up around the New South Wales boys, they're all just like, I don't know. It's just something you can't explain, eh? It's a weird one, bro.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it, man. And like you said, we lost the series and last couple of years. So yeah, it's a pretty tough one to have to sort of sit there and sort of cop as well, you know, especially playing in those games. Like, yeah, it's just a hard one to put your finger on, but you know, hats off to them. They played well.
I can see it burning you. It's just making me laugh.
I was like, what do I say here? I don't want to start getting angry.
Start like looking around and stuff.
I
Like.
was like looking at that gap. Like, what do I say?
Bro, it's a random thought, and I was just listening to a book on like leadership not too long ago, and I talked about Sir Alex Ferguson, and he goes, the key is to be like an inconsistent leader, and that was the name of the title. But what he meant by that was like he used to treat like each person like differently. And there was one time, there was a game where his best player was killing it on the field, but he ended up passing the ball back or something. I don't know the football analogy. And he come into the locker room and he sprayed his best player in front of everyone. He goes, if you fucking do that again, I'll fucking pull you off. And he was like a little bit rattled, went back on and killed it. But because he sprayed the best player, the whole team went with them too. Yeah, and I remember that where like someone told me this a little bit later when I was playing half, because I used to just spray everyone. I was like, fuck, what are you doing? But if you we think about this with Islander boys, they don't react to confrontation too well. Sometimes a pat in the back, it's just like, bro, you're too good to be doing stuff like that. It's kind of the spray that they need.
Exactly.
And that's what it reminded me of when you were just sort of talking about that before. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But then you got to make fucking 40 tackles and play 80.
No, that's yeah. I sort of learnt that same along the same lines of that when I was at South with Maguire. So we did personality tests.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we all had to do personality tests, and then we all sat in a room and then spoke about, what works best for you. So every individual in the room was like, oh yeah, Dave Tyrrell. I remember the funniest. He was like, bro, just spray me. I don't care.
Yeah,
he's like,
I like that.
Swear at me. You just tell me what to do and I'll do it for you. Just spray me. It's fine. And someone like Chris McQueen was like, if you spray me, he's like, I could lose my head a little bit. Like, if you like, just talk to me or tell me what you need and I'll do it for you, sort of thing. So that's when I first learned. I was like, everyone as an individual, like you said, is so different. And it's tough. It's like, I guess you get some guys back in the olden days where you're probably just getting sprayed. Everyone.
Everyone's spraying everyone.
Doesn't matter. Everyone's copping it. Doesn't matter who you are. If you want to cry about it, nah, you're copping the spray. And like it was just different times back then as well. Like upbringings were different. You had to play footy and work as well sometimes. So I'm guessing like people just were harder nosed, I guess, at the time. Whereas nowadays it's like some guys are in high school getting ready to, get ready for first grade training. So it's like, it's so different, and personalities and all that are coming out. The more we know about the human psyche and how it works. So it's crazy now. Like you said, as a leader, I've got to speak to certain people differently. And
I think the vulnerability of players coming through now, like they may be perceived as a little bit softer, but I think the positive side of that, bro, is that they're not afraid to open up.
Yes.
When things are going bad, and especially like personal life, like they'll tell you if a relationship's gone down where before, like, I think a lot of the boys had bottled it up and then next minute, like bad stuff's starting to happen, bro, which is scary, bro. So that's probably the one positive side of it.
100%. And a lot of times your off-field life affects your footy life. So if you're able to get that out, then at least you have a chance for someone else to try and not just help you with it, but even just listen.
Yeah, bro, that's all they need sometimes, eh?
Bro, massive difference, yeah.
So you've re-signed at the Tigers. Are you going to finish your career there? Is that sort of the plan, or would you go overseas? No, you're not going to go overseas, are you? Family's there. Sorry, the sort of question I'm trying to head down is, when you leave the Tigers, what do you want your legacy to be? Not as a football player, but just as a Tigers player.
When I lead
the Tigers.
Right.
So at the end of your contract, like what would you perceive to be a success? Is it Tigers make one finals? Obviously, winning the grand final is a big one, or is it something like a little bit smaller?
Bro, honestly, my brain doesn't even work like that.
That far?
Nah. I literally. I'll be honest, I forgot I had this podcast that you messaged me yesterday.
Yeah, I know that. Right, footy players are the worst.
I appreciate you, bro. That was huge, lad. I just seen your name pop up and I was like, I was shocked. I thought it was today. And then, I was like, lucky you messaged me. But honestly, man, I live my life day to day, and whatever happens at the back end of Tigers will happen. But I literally all I want at the moment is to enjoy this off season. And then when we do get into pre-season, lad, like just full like change in everything, the culture.
Is your foot getting down day one? You putting your foot down day one?
Yeah. So I tried to put. I was saying before how I got there a bit late.
Yeah.
So it was hard. Like, I didn't build that rapport with anyone, and I became captain, but I didn't want to go too hard. I didn't want to lose everyone before I'd even started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I sort of let it go how it was going, and then I started bringing in punishments after, but like funny ones, like to sort of try and get things back. And then, I just know this time around, I'm like, nah, from day dot, like this is just how it has to be. There is no like ifs or buts. Like all it does is create the discipline that everyone buys into. So if you can get that as a team, that's just like one step. It's not everything, but it's one small thing that you need. Discipline's like so important when it comes to playing footy off the field. So
I'm excited for that.
Oh, bro. The boys are ready? Bring that whip. Everyone's coming.
Hurry up.
Everyone's center. No one's safe.
Sorry, last question. You got one guy to pick. Who's the other 9 in the comp that you like going up against?
That I like to aim up against?
Yeah, who's like, when team sheets come out on a Tuesday and there's another 9 on the other side, who's one guy you like to go up against?
Bro, it's usually always Damien Cook or Harry Grant. Love playing against good hookers. I love playing against good hookers. I think it's the competitive. I don't know if it's the competitive side of me or what.
Yeah.
But I think as well, like I just was never picked for anything. I always got chosen over growing up. Like everyone was always better than me, or they always went another direction. So it's mad when I just get out there. I'm like, yeah, me and you today, me and you.
Yeah.
I just keep that sort of in the back of my head.
Pack the scrum and go.
Bro, oh Robbie Farah.
Yeah, just hit someone.
Oh.
Is the Damien Cook one because of the New South Wales selection?
Yeah, I guess like coming through.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the New South Wales selection. But yeah, not in like any malice or any of that. Just more so just competition. He got picked, and I was fine with it. Like, but I just enjoy playing against good hookers.
Love that.
Yeah, especially Harry Grant as well. Like,
He's a freak, eh?
he's so good. Like, hats off, Wade Egan, killing it this year, bro.
Yeah, I remember when we left Penrith, and I was like, oh, he's just like a solid player. Like, he'll get you the ball, bro. But bro, he's nice.
Yeah,
He can play.
He's one thing I know is his deception is crazy too.
Yeah.
He's half showing, coming back the other way, like playing some good footy. I love Mitch Kenny, bro. He's like the opposite, like hard nosed, like trying to bash in defense. Like, I enjoy watching him. Or when I did watch the games last year.
Sorry, we talked about the 14 off air, how important.
Yeah.
You said it's probably one of the most important positions in the game right now. And there's different styles to play that 14 position. Mm-hmm. How would you like to play it? How do you like to play it? Do you like because you've come off a double hooker system where Mitch Kenny can take up the first 20, you roll through laters, like your thing. Is that your favourite way to play it? Or do you like a Dylan Walker sort of style where you can pass out? Yeah,
I think my favourite would be, if I was coaching a team, have the Dylan Walker style. The guy that can play hooker 13, back row is nice, but if they could play centre as well, that'd be like the ultimate. So like D Walks, he's playing 13-9 centres, and if you need him, he's playing the halves. Like that's just like the ultimate 14. You know what I mean? And so many things happen in the game these days: injuries or head knocks. Doesn't matter what.
Crazy,
yeah. It's crazy, and then people are just going down. So if you're able to cover all those positions, you're blessed. You're blessed, really.
Shout out to that boy D Walks. All right, Ups, just want to say thank you for your time and jumping on. Get you back on early next year. Talk about the Tigers and how you're going to win the comp.
Appreciate you. Thank you, my brother.
Thanks, my guy.